to the hack and then the threats?
Oh, I think Sony's reaction is extremely cowardly. I mean, I know I'm only 27, but it doesn't take a lot of time to just go on YouTube and see how we used to mock our enemies. And, I know we're not at war technically with North Korea, but this is a disgusting, filthy, sadistic regime. It's the greatest and most successful social engineering experiment on the face of the planet, that country. And they treat their people just so awful. I mean, you can't even have five guys, more than five guys, meet in a room because it could create some type of insurgency ideology to go against the government. And every person, before when they're 17 years old, they are all given by the time they turn 17 years old, the government keeps a file on every single citizen in North Korea. So, I mean, getting down to brass tacks here, this regime is just as evil as the Islamic State or ISIS or Daesh or whatever you want to call them. And I know that we don't really try to do too much about it, but in some ways it's kind of sickening because these guys are just, I mean, they're the Korean version of the Nazis,
No
except they're
question. Hey,
not.
listen, some are calling this the first chapter, if you will, in cyber warfare. Now, granted, this was an attack on a corporation, and certainly from China and Russia and other places. I mean, it's gone on for years, even State Department secrets, military secrets, everything else. But then we got to the threats against theaters, the threats of violence and terrorism. Do you think that this was not a declaration of war? I don't want to go that far, but do you think it rates up at that level that this is definitely maybe one of the first swings in cyber warfare?
Yeah, I was watching an analyst talk about it, and they said the reason that it's a watershed moment is because it's the equivalent of dropping a bomb on Sony. Um, so yeah, I mean, to that degree, I don't think the declaration of war. Yeah, I would say that's probably going a little too far. But let's be honest. I mean, like this regime, the North Korean government as a whole, is just they'd like to be powerful, but if they really wanted to step up to the United States, we'd snuff them out pretty quickly. So
How's them?
Oh, you know what? I think we lost connection there. So, I don't know. It is any of that? Do you think giving credence to? I mean, obviously they had this hack, which frankly it really surprised me that they even had the technology to do that. I mean, in
Well, they may
yours,
have farmed it out. There's some suggestions this morning that they may have gotten help from at least China.
okay, well that doesn't surprise me at all. What do you think, Justin? Do you think this is an internal to NOCO, or do you think this is something they farmed out? I mean, it's not difficult to imagine that China has building after building after building with people looking at this kind of stuff.
yeah, I would agree that it's definitely a co-op type of operation. I don't think it's just North Korea alone. Um, I actually want to talk to one of my buddies who's in the FBI about it, but I haven't got the opportunity to do it yet because I saw that the FBI is saying that it is North Korea, and
Right.
that was the latest thing that I saw.
That's this
But
morning. Yeah.
China has an insane ability when it comes to technology, so and that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised, but the people would say it's like Iran or something like that. I don't think it's Iran. So
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think that the cowardice, and your descriptor was right on as it relates to Sony, but this threat that any theaters that showed the movie, could be attacked. How the hell could North Korea? Listen, it's one thing to cyber attack, to use China or whomever to help you, but China ain't going to help you come to an AMC theater, Regal Theater, and and bomb people who go to see the movie. But that's why it is just incredibly a scary precedent that Sony just set. Because what's to stop? You mentioned ISIS. I mean, anyone around the globe, from a movie, a TV show, a publication, or whatever. We don't like it, so we're going to attack. We're going to cyber attack whomever's responsible for it, and then they're going to pull it. I mean, it's just unbelievable, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, it's a freedom of speech issue, and they're totally attacking freedom of expression and freedom of speech. And I think if we had someone else in the office, that there might be a little stronger of a response. I'm not saying go to, until North Korea actually kills some American citizens or something like that. I'm not, or maybe attacks our electrical grid. I'm not saying that'd happen.
So what do you think? What do you think that the government, our government, should do? Should it just, issue the sternly worded letter, sternly worded teleprompter speech, or is there something that we should do in response to this?
Well, I definitely think we should do something in response. And sternly worded letters, I mean, those work so great. I mean, they're the most effective thing ever. So,
sternly worded letter.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way that we need to fight wars now. Is we just need to get people who can really write a nice little thing and send it down to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Don't do this, guys. It's just not right. And then they behead 500 other people. So, yeah. But as far as a response, I mean, we have a lot. I don't know how brilliant, but I know we have a lot of brilliance here in the United States, and why not hit them with the cyber attack? I mean, as much as I just want to say, because I hate the North Korean government, just freaking send in someone to assassinate Kim Jong-un, and I mean, someone would just take his place the next day. So it's just like, that's a really tough situation too, because you have a whole country that believes that their leader is a god. I mean, they literally pray like we would pray to God out for a meal, that kind of thing. They literally pray to Kim Jong-un. I mean, it is such an extreme country that you can go to a gulag if someone sees you dusting the frame of dear leader incorrectly in the house, you can be purged for 3 generations. You, your kids, and your parents would all go to a gulag because now you're an enemy of the state because of the way you handled a freaking picture frame. So these
Now,
guys are
do people actually have their picture frames? I mean, they have the dear leader in their home for worship purposes. Are you exaggerating, or is that true?
No, that's true. They literally, it is like a massive cult. That's why it's been called one of the greatest social engineering experiments. These guys are, I mean, if you remember the funeral of Kim Il-sung, and I know I was like 4 or something when that dude died, but you can just watch footage and see how they're just crying and crying and crying. And I've watched pretty much every documentary there is to watch on North Korea that's actually inside that country. And even after these guys come in and they do cataract surgery on about, I think, 2,000, 3,000 North Koreans, this guy from Nepal. The first thing they do is they go up to the picture frame, and this is before Kim Jong-un was in power, of Kim Il-sung, and they start crying and say, now I will take a rifle and kill all the American imperialists. So, I mean, these guys are brainwashed beyond brainwashed.
Unbelievable. All right, now I want to pivot real quick because we've just got a couple of minutes left. You mentioned ISIS, and I noticed that is something that you have over the last few months paid particular attention to. What's going on there? Any updates or comments or things you'd like to say about what you see going on in the Middle East right now vis-a-vis our interactions and quote war end quote with ISIS?
Well, I think that we still need a stronger response. I know that we have some troops there, and I know that they engaged in battle with ISIS when they tried to attack a base, but they were only defending. They haven't gone in the offensive, kind of like the SAS did. I don't know why England is ahead of us in that regard, but maybe they have more balls than we do right now, which isn't surprising with who's the commander-in-chief of the United States military. But as far as ISIS goes, I mean, it's like I've talked to all my friends in the military, whether they're special operations or whatever they've done, and they've told me time and time again, and they tell me all the time, they're like, the only way that we're going to win this thing is if we actually put troops, because you can't have an effective response with just airstrikes. You have to have, troop movements in there. And ISIS, I mean, come on, these guys have expanded into Libya. I mean, they're already implementing their brutal form of Sharia in Derna, Libya. They're getting Al Qaeda to pledge allegiance. They're getting Boko Haram to pledge allegiance. They're getting all sorts of terror groups, and all these terrorists, they want to be on a winning team is the thing. So why don't we make them the losing team and just freaking destroy them? Because if we don't, it's just going to continue to become a bigger problem. But, Obama has better things to do, like, golf, fundraise, that kind of stuff, act like he's running for president again. So,
17 days in Hawaii, brother, starting today.
Oh, fantastic. That's so great. I'm so happy for him. Hope a shark eats him.
I am as well.
Exactly.
Okay, listen, Justin, believe it or not, brother, we're out of time. You got to come back, man.
Yeah, for sure. Do it.
We love you. And yeah, as much as I hate you for grabbing stories before I do, because like I'm sleeping and you're grabbing them, I still love you, man.
I appreciate it. Love you too.
Happy holidays, man.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but when I was 27, I was going on 18.
You know what, man? When I was 27, which that would have been, I already had 2 kids. At 27, 96, I owned my own mortgage company. No. So at 27, dude, I was 27 going on 37. Had my own company, already had 2 kids.
Yeah, well, that was not me, but
I will say this about charters is I probably still have half the brains that cat does.
Half what?
Half the brains that cat does.
And the thing is, he's not only smart, but he's bold. I mean, the articles he's written. And listen, I encourage everyone, not just to go to IJR when Michael or I refer to a particular post or we talk about a post on the show, but just go there anyway. Just go to the home page, ijreview.com, and read the stuff that people like Justin Charters put up, because he's awesome. And again, it just... he's been on Amato, right? I think I saw him.
Yes, he has. And he's been on Fox, too.
He has?
Yeah, he's been on Fox a couple of times, in fact. I certainly can't say that.
But anyway, I wish, of course, who cares what I wish, but that I had gotten into what we do now, because I love what we do, when I was his age. I mean, who knows, dude? I mean, nobody may have heard of O'Reilly. You know what I'm saying? Because we may have eclipsed him.
You mean... Maybe.
I'm kidding. People, you guys know how we're arrogant. Pretend. Wink, wink. Michael, what are you doing this weekend, man?
Got my kiddos for the weekend. I'm going up with them. We're going to go see a friend's Christmas show on Saturday night. Big squash match planned this afternoon. And that's about, I think I've got like 4 stories in the queue. Oh, by the way, we just got a note from Becca. She was, Justin was on Neil Cavuto once. That's what he did.
Wow, I did. You know what? I do know that. Kudos to Becca. I do know that. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, totally nuts. So that's what I'm doing. What about you, man?
This is pretty much it, dude. I'm in the kitchen. No, I don't know. Nothing really big planned for this weekend. I don't know. I just like to relax, kick back.
Well, my favorite thing, I'm definitely going to go through and take the video of the president's speech, cut it into pieces, and see if I can come up with the video myself that will make fun of it. Anyway, folks, you've been listening to The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. Thank you, and have a great weekend.
Thank
This show is produced by IJReview.com.